The Divide is a movie that was on my list for a long time because it is a post-apocalyptic thriller survival film directed by Xavier Gens. I think he does hardcore French horror films. So this movie is about a nuclear bomb that goes off, and the residents of an apartment building, some of them manage to get to the basement before they are vaporized, and there's a giant steel door that manages to keep everyone safe. So after the initial bombing, everyone is sort of introduced. The main character, I mean not the main character, but the main force of the story is Mickey. He is a racist, xenophobic, loudmouthed, sort of crass superintendent of the building. So he is sort of in charge just because he takes control. He says they're not allowed to leave because the radioactive dust will kill anyone. So they barricade the door with some duct tape. He gives out some beans for everyone, and everyone just sort of introduces all the characters. There's a couple, sort of the main character, because they're the first characters introduced, is a couple. We don't know the backstory very well, but I guess they're on the rocks. Then there's a pair of brothers. One of them's adopted, so that they're still brothers. And then there's like a friend of one of those, and I don't remember any of their names, to be honest. I remember the female is Eva, but I don't remember anyone else. And there's also a mother and daughter. There's a black man, and I think that's it. So these characters spend the first half of the movie just sort of, wasting away, sort of eating beans and just sort of chilling because they not much to do until a force attacks them and sort of changes things up, and they manage to fight off some of the intruders. However, they find out that if they go outside without a suit, they are pretty much done. And the second part of the movie is kind of what I came for. When I was looking up the plot of this movie, it said something about people trying to survive in a bunker and they change roles or something. And I was hoping for that sort of microcosm, sort of, group without rules kind of thing. Whoever has the power makes the rules kind of break down, like Lord of the Flies. So the second half of this movie does that, but not in a good way. It goes into like really extremes, over the top. Basically, they find out something about the superintendent. They tie him up, and power shifts hands, and then all of a sudden, different people start controlling other people and rationing food and bullying others. And it's a really slow process. Really good acting from everyone. There's Milo Ventimiglia in there, and Courtney B. Vance, Michael Biehn, Michael Eklund. I thought the weakest actors were the Eva and her husband, because he's like this timid little shit. Seriously, he's just so over the top in his, indecisiveness. They make him seem like he's a little boy rather than a character. And then when he's supposed to man up, he has trouble doing it, and he spends the whole movie whimpering in the corner. And overall, the movie just doesn't have really great characterization. I like Mickey the best. Michael Biehn gives a great performance, but the story isn't really there. And then by the end, everything devolves into madness, but not in a cool way. I guess it would have been better if there were more character. No, actually, yeah, if there was like a bigger sort of like presence in the bunker, and there was more people, and it was more like the sort of community of the colony. That's not a good movie, but that one did the whole society thing better. There's one leader, and there's more people to sort of, there's a source of food. There's no fighting over that, but The Divide just has such a small sample of people to sort of pick on that they don't really get any character development, really. They're just sort of yelling at each other and getting hungry. And then when the movie does try to do character development, they give some awful backstory for Eva. Terrible, terrible backstory. And it's just something stupid, and it cheapened the whole thing. It's like a better movie that did this way better would be Cube. Cube definitely is a movie that shows a small sample of people and their backstory sort of affecting present day stuff. But this movie just fumbles it. They got all these people that are just sort of yelling at each other, and by the end of the movie, something happens, and by then it's a moot point. So overall, The Divide has really good acting, and I wanted to like it. I liked the concept, but the movie it felt really slow. The first half doesn't really have much going on. The second half is the breakdown, but by then you're just kind of like, and then by the end, it's just sort of feels pointless. So The Divide is a movie that I felt really dropped the ball in several areas. So I give it a 4 out of 10.